Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very warm welcome to you all to the IGF Women in Leadership Forum. My name is Laura Buckwell, and it's a great pleasure to be welcoming you all here live at the Taj Exotica, Dubai the Palm, here in the UAE. Well, it is the fourth day of the IGF UAE Forum. We've had a summit on climate change. We've had the Founders and Funders Forum. We've had the IGF Forum and also the IGF Studio as well. We'll be broadcasting live, by the way, today via our media partners, NDTV, BQ Prime, Golf News and Daily Hunt. Now, if you'd like to join the conversation, please do so by using our hashtag, which is IGFUAE. Well, as you know, the India Global Forum is where India meets the world and where the world meets India. Well, to start us off, ladies and gentlemen, I thought we'd start off with a quote from Michelle Obama. She once said, "No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contributions of half its citizens." Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 3.9 billion people in the world are women, making up half of the global population. So how can we make sure that women are joining the conversation and joining the solutions and essential contributions to these decisions? How do we level the playing field? Well, according to the McKinsey Global Institute, closing the gender gap in the workforce could add a staggering $28 trillion to the global economy. Think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. $28 trillion to the global economy, which is a huge, quite shocking figure, in fact. Right, some more figures to think about. 190 million fewer women than men have a bank account in the world. That's apparently according to the World Bank. And 2/3 of the 750 million illiterate adults worldwide are also women. That's according to UNESCO figures. Some very shocking figures there. I'm going to be reeling off some more figures as we go through the day as well. Well, before we dive into our conversations here at the Women in Leadership Forum, at the India Global Forum, first and foremost, it's a great pleasure to introduce you all to the CEO and founder of the India Global Forum, who's here today with us. He's been working tirelessly over the last 4 days and over the last couple of months, of course, with his incredible team, many of whom are women, by the way. And I'd like to pull him up here. Come on up here. Please give a very warm welcome to Professor Manoj Ladwa, founder and CEO of the India Global Forum. Let's go here, yeah.
Is it here?
Yep. Well, there we go. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us here, and thank you for creating this forum as well. It's so wonderful to give women a voice within the forum and everything that you've created so far. Let's start off with how this week's been. What's happened this week?
Well, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me onto this stage, and it's great to see so many of you here in the room, and a special cheer, I think, and a round of applause to all the men in the room here. So please give them a big round of applause. It's been a fantastic week. You see, we never know when we conceptualize an event as to what it's ultimately going to turn out as. And I've been just so impressed by the energy, the enthusiasm, and everybody that's been chatting is taking away something. Some new idea, some new opportunity, something to think about going back into the boardrooms or going back home and having a chat with their families and so on. And so that's really important for me. It's not the business, and that'll happen, but it's the ideas generation, what that then inspires other people. That's what makes me get up in the morning and say, yes, this is really worth doing.
So you set the forum up over in the UK. What was the sort of premise behind that? What inspired you to set this up?
I was fed up, to be very honest. I was fed up and I was angry that India, the country of my origin, was being portrayed so negatively in the media and at discussions around the world. And I said, well, some of that may be true. There are negatives about every country in the world, but there are so many positives. You have a country that's 1/6 of the world's population. 1/4 of the world's workforce will be Indian in the next 25 years. There's stories to be told. There's exciting stories to be told, and I wanted to tell them in a way in which it would be conversational. So you can see our logo is an open speech mark. And so that really meant a lot to me, that I was fed up of the closed conversation, masks as open conversations, but that's not the India I knew. And therefore, I said, well, if others are not going to do it, we'll set up our own forum. And here we are.
Look where we are today. It's brilliant.
So,
We're now in our second year here in the UAE as well. Has much changed over the past year?
I think the most palpable change I can see is there is a recognition of this is the moment. This is the moment for the UAE and the region to really express itself, just as people like me have been trying to help India express itself. I can see a new sense of confidence. And I've just been blown over by, Dr. Gargash, the diplomatic advisor to His Highness, and yesterday we had Her Excellency Reem Al Hashmi, His Excellency Al Olama, and various others, the top leadership of the UAE, how articulate, how clear-minded they are, recognizing that, there is a changing world here and they have a role to play, and they want to engage and embrace countries like India to say, well, let's do this journey together. That's the change.
You've gathered many leaders across the 4 days here. We're going to be speaking about inspiring leaders as well throughout today. Who and what inspires you then?
See, I think at a young age, my mother used to tell me stories from the Mahabharata, which is an Indian epic, and stories of Lord Krishna, and in particular, the child Krishna, Bal Krishna, the innocent little kid, and how that innocent little kid became such a great inspiration for the world. And it's that childlike intuition, or sort of inquisitiveness that I've developed over years. And when I meet anybody, I'm trying to learn a bit more about them. So I guess it's a bit cliched, but I don't know if the people that have met me will know that I'm always trying to find out a little bit more about them, what makes them happy, what makes them tick, what they're worried about, and see and reflect that in my own self. So I think everybody in this room just inspires me. I'm just meeting people. Having said that, come to the topic of women in leadership. If I look over the last few years, something that may have been missed is the work that India has done and Prime Minister Modi has done around women's empowerment is just something phenomenal. And if I brought it down to what has really been the big game changer and that has inspired me a lot, is when the Prime Minister of India, newly elected on the 15th of August 2014, goes on the ramparts of Red Fort. And he could have made any speech he wanted to. The cornerstone of his speech was toilets and sanitization. And people were confused. They were trying to interpret what it meant. It was all about empowering young women. Wow. That if you have good sanitation in schools, then girls will go to school. If you have good sanitation at home, they don't have to go into the fields. And every disgusting, nasty thing that could happen as a result of that. So you can see that that has been one of the biggest and most inspiring things for me, that the most powerful man in India focused on what had been ignored for the last 75 years and hit it on the head. If I can solve this problem, women will solve the rest of the problems for us.
has that been an inspiration for this Women in Leadership Forum? And what is the main aim for you for the rest of the day?
See, as far as the forum is concerned, about 4 years ago, so we in the UK we publish a power list called the 100 Most Influential in UK-India Relations. And the first year we published it, we had about 12 or 13 women in there. So I said to the team, look, we've got to get the gender balance, got the, all of that sort of stuff. And so we got up to about 30 women. So then our third year, I said, look, can we get it to equal? Team got it to equal. And then I said to them, no, can we get it to 100 women? And they said, but 100 most, I said, I want the 100 most influential women. My team said, it's going to be really difficult, it's not been done. They got 130 nominations come in, and they put it all together, and we had the first list of 100 most influential women in UK-India relations. What that got me thinking is that, actually, if you really want to do something, you can. There's no excuse, really, is there? And so for our next UK event, over 50% of our speakers will be women. We haven't done it yet here. That's why one of my appeal is for next year, I want this group of allies to come together and say, actually, in our organization, VFS, for instance, I don't want Zubin talking next year. I want the women in the organization talking, and then you guys are doing a great job. So I'm just pointing them out. One, they're our sponsors, but more importantly, they actually are doing some great stuff. And I think Zubin would be one of the first guys to acknowledge that that's the sort of stuff that I want to see.
I want to congratulate you as well on having such an amazing female-based team as well. You've got quite a few women executives on your team. Tell us a little bit about what choices you've made in that respect. Why so many women?
It's not been a conscious choice. One of my best team members is my wife, Dina. But it wasn't a conscious choice that, we just need to, just that Nomita, Rajvi, Ishita, they all just came, they joined, and they've just gone on with the job. And yes, I do see differences, and no disrespect to my male colleagues, but the multitasking, for instance, I just find it absolutely amazing how women that have got household responsibilities, let's face it, are able to juggle between top-level conversations and conference calls and getting Megan and others and, high-profile people to come onto our platform, yet they still have duties at home. And they're, working from home and juggling all of these, and kids just screaming and shouting in the background and so on. But they've got their husbands to deal with all of that these days, so it's pretty good. But it's just happened like that. I'm really proud of it.
Let's hear it for his team. They have worked incredibly hard, I can't tell you, over the past months, and obviously it's year-round as well, isn't it? Sadly, that is all we have time for, but just before you go, thank you so much for sitting down with us as well. I want to do a bit of a test with our audience here today. Are you up for a bit of a test? Are you up for it?
I want to share one other thing.
Sure, yeah.
Just one other thing.
Why not?
And that is that if somebody asked me what is my vision for this forum, I want this for India Global Forum, I want it to grow. I want it to, make real strong social impact and business impact everywhere it goes. But as far as the Women in Leadership Forum is concerned, I'm going to make a controversial statement. I don't want it to exist in the next 2 or 3 years. I really don't want it to exist. There should not be a need for this, is what my view is. But in order to get to that point, we've got to have these conversations. That's my view.
Very well said. Thank you. Well, yes, as I mentioned, I want to do a quick test. Is that okay? Are you going to stay on the stage and do it with us? Everyone at home, online, whoever's watching as well, or our online guests, please join in. Right, I want our crowd here today to all please close your eyes. Everyone, close your eyes. Trust me, don't worry. Nothing will happen. You're not in danger. Close your eyes. Now, think of a leader that inspires you. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds think very hard, maybe through your childhood, through work, through anyone in politics. Who inspires you? A leader that inspires you. Right, open your eyes, please. Now put your hand up if you thought of a man. Put your hand up. Quite a few, but actually not that many. And actually, when we've done this task before, in predominantly male audiences, might I add, in industry events, pretty much 90% have got their hands up. And even I, actually, the first time I did it, had my hand up for a man. And it's obviously because of all, the number of men in these positions, they still dominate. But so wonderful to see so many people that actually thought of women. So well done. Well done to you all. Anyway, Manoj, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to speak with you, and thank you so much for creating such a splendid forum. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.